May 11, 2026, special meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council, budget workshop.
I'm going to
Joe
call that.
Sordillo's caught traffic with how many
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, Mike, I think it is working.
I don't know.
Okay.
Assuming he's coming.
All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There it is.
Notice of
Yep,
publication.
this special
Jessica?
meeting has been advertised in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Blumer,
Here.
Khaleesi,
Yeah.
Novak,
Here.
Rios,
Here.
Sinarski,
Here.
Zabrowski.
Here.
Okay, so the purpose of this special meeting is a budget workshop. It's open to the public. It's being televised.
Not being televised.
It's not being televised. Is it being recorded?
Yes, audio.
Okay. Well, at some point it'll be televised. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Danielle.
Thank you, Mayor. As you all know, it was a very difficult budget year here in Sayreville and all over the state of New Jersey. Municipalities are really struggling. There's a lot of increases that are beyond our control, mainly insurance, pension obligations, our sewer contract with the MCUA went up a lot. So it's made it very, very difficult for us. There's also, we had some surplus come that was as a result of COVID money that we used the last of that last year, so that that's no longer available to us. I know we introduced at 25 cents, and we were able to amend the budget to get the tax rate substantially lower to 16 cents.
Okay, were you able to do that chart that shows the extraordinary expenses this year to the traditional expenses?
I wish that I was able to, but unfortunately, we are under state review this year. Every couple of years, every town is under state review. So the state was asking me for so much information to get the approval to
So
our budget.
the best you can do it on the back of an envelope. What-
Well, we have 9 cents is, if we picture the tax rate increase at 16%, 9 cents of that is for our insurance. Almost 2 cents is for the pension, and our wastewater is 3.3 cents, which is 14 cents of
Okay,
the
so
increase.
nobody gets a direct, nobody gets a direct sewage bill, the borough still pays it through general taxes.
But they're going to pay the shortfall. Everybody has a sewer bill. Glenn said that he's going to be working on to raise that so that the homeowners. But
Okay.
by the time it goes into effect, it will probably only get maybe 1/4.
Okay. All right.
But that does not reflect in here. That'll
All right.
go into next year's.
So Mary, do you want to go over what the meetings that you've had? on
We
budget?
really only had 2 meetings, and one was extremely short because 2 of our members, 2 out of the 3 had to run to the Sarah meeting, so we only had it for an hour. That's when we were first, we were told that, we had 25.2 cents. And I was choking on that because that's, when I read the budget, that's what I came up with, but I said, I must be wrong. I must be reading this wrong. I wasn't. I begged and pleaded that they get it down to no more than 19 cents. And it didn't look like that was going to happen for a while. But when we came in here, Danielle had emailed me and said that we were going to be pleasantly surprised. And when we came in, it was at 16.4 cents, which is, just a little over 9 cents decrease. That's pretty damn good considering what our education is. I'm sorry, Kennedy.
It's like
I'm saying,
talking to
I thought,
Jimmy.
knowing,
Can he hear? No, he can't.
no, he never hears me.
No.
That's with or without the hearing aids. No, I was very pleasantly surprised with this. Would I have liked to have seen it a couple of cents less? Yes, I would. But knowing what I know, this isn't my first rodeo with this, and I was very pleasant. I mean, we had found some things that we weren't aware of, which helped us out, and a lot to do with pilots. You know, there was some more money coming in from pilots than we originally anticipated, so that helped. So, and there's nothing we can really do to lower the cost of healthcare. That's just what it is, you know.
Okay. So let me start. Alberto, anything with DPW, any additional reductions that you foresee?
Have nothing. The only thing that I did read was the healthcare.
And granted, it's your first year.
But I think that the bulk is healthcare. It's I believe it's 33% or something like that. Up, yeah. So there's,
What's our total healthcare expenditure?
It's 12,600. I mean, 12,600,000 is what we have to budget
For
for.
300, for payroll of about 300.
And this, I think this was what, this 3.3 million that it went up?
It went up
2.4.
2.3 and change.
Yeah.
and I think what I heard, you know, people talking, and we gotta make clear that this healthcare doesn't cover any weight loss,
No.
because that was one of the concerns out there. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you know, so it doesn't cover anything.
No.
Weight loss related.
No, there's a big interest in those drugs, and we did look at it earlier in this year, but it was just cost prohibitive for us to be able to add that into our plan at this
You know,
time.
there's one question I didn't ask you. The healthcare cost, was that just the medical insurance? That was my original thought.
No, that's all of our benefits.
That's everything. Okay, I originally thought just medical, and I said, gee,
No,
I
that's
wonder if it's everything.
Just to cover the Ozempic thing. At the beginning of the century, there were two products that were hot on the market. One was Rogaine, which was for guys that were losing their hair. And the second one was the little blue pill for guys that had lost some other ability. and at this meeting, I said, we're not covering them. So if you wonder why it's not covered, it goes back 25 years. So that's why you have balding, relatively happy guys working on it. Or happy wives. Okay, Hervé?
I don't have anything in terms of reduction in
Okay.
public safety.
All right.
I do have to also say, though, Mayor, that I didn't talk to every department head, but I talked
I
to...
still can't hear you.
I didn't talk to every department head,
Yeah.
but I did talk to several, and they were, you know, content with
Mary?
content with their budget.
Have you ever talked to a department head that raised their hand and said, I have a cut?
No, actually, I'm telling you, they were relatively happy with what happened in this budget, so, which is unusual. Usually I get a list from everybody of things they
Glenn
want that they
and
didn't
Danielle.
get. They were relatively happy.
All right, so Hervé, nothing. Sash?
Don't shoot me, but do borough employees pay anything toward their benefits?
30%.
Yeah.
30%? Okay. Because that was a big problem where I was.
No, they pay, we're in chapter 78, they've already.
Yeah, it's a scale based on their salary. It tops out at 30% of their premium. Budget-wise, they will contribute $1.8 million towards the cost of health
Okay,
benefits.
and the retirees are still, is this?
Yeah, the tier 1 people are covered with no
Oh,
deduction.
yeah, okay. As far as any kind
We don't have many tier ones left to be retired.
We do.
And police, you have like 73.
Really? That's
Yeah.
majority of
You know,
the force.
maybe like 6 or 7 here.
I'm tier 1.
I'm tier 1.
So how many tiers are there?
I think 5.
5 or 6 now.
Yeah.
But the distinction is tier 1, that's the old system where you got lifetime benefits with no contribution, and then from 2 down, everybody's got to pay their portion.
Are you an employee of the hospital or the city?
The state,
The city.
SUNY, state.
So if you had gotten employment like 1970, you'd retire at like full salary, right? If you were
Not full, if, depends on if you ERS or UUP. ERS is the one that you retire at half your salary.
No, the original contract.
Or the original contract, okay.
That's why I said if your hire date was like, my cousin retired from the state. She knew people that were, they got in just
Right at the time.
right time.
Yeah, because if
They got 100% retirement.
yeah, my healthcare, I have to just pay $25 copay for whatever it is, but it's always been like that, and it still is, as a matter of fact. But to not pay anything at all.
Well, what about when you retire?
When I retire, I'm still under the, but I have to do Medicare Part B, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good. And plus, I have tons of time where I probably won't have to pay any copay at all because they can use my time as in lieu of, or you do, my copay.
Luckily enough, even though Jim's been in the hospital and he's had a heart attack and everything, I don't think the health insurance has paid anything. Medicare B has been paying all of our bills.
Well, that's because that becomes primary when you turn 65.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is that once you turn 65, Medicare's, I hope the insurance isn't charging the town a lot, because they're not really, I think once they paid $1.32 or something. Other than
The
that,
issue we
yeah,
run
it's
into with the
paying.
healthcare is when you have retirees with long-term complicated health
Yeah.
issues, like a cancer, for instance. Those are very expensive treatments. And now with medical science, what used to be a death sentence is now a chronic disease.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Thank God, really.
we're paying many, many years of that treatment.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
Good thing everybody's healthy, but that, and that's what in large part drove our increase, because as the broker explained it to us, we have our 100% of the premiums,
Mm-hmm.
but the insurance company's shelling out 104% to cover our claims.
Yeah.
So right out of the chute, they're 4 points in the hole, and, they've got to
Yeah.
be paid for it.
So anything else?
I don't know of any other big projects that can be changed in a water and sewer. I can talk more to David if I.
Well, the other thing is water and, what's the direct impact water and sewer has on the budget? Because water should be pay as you go.
It pays for itself.
Right.
Okay, Mike?
No, sir.
No, sir, what?
Don't have any.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Question.
You knew what you meant.
Um,
Did we get the one red?
Is there anything
We're on
we
the
can
text
do
message.
to increase revenue?
That's a tax increase.
Well,
Yeah.
Besides that,
Well,
besides that.
look, we'll derive benefits, like starting in '27, the revenue coming out of Riverton is going to substantially increase. And that will continue over the next 20 years. Now, a little bit hard to quantify what that is, but that should give us a pretty good shot of revenue moving into next year. If we land a project for Hercules, that will bring more revenue. Jupiter, I think they told us, on 2 years before that's built out, we'll get revenue out of that. So those are definitive ways that we can see on the horizon coming into town and bringing us. We've got Hanover is going to do the old Sunshine Biscuit site. That's going to bring more revenue.
Keep in mind, we haven't realized the money for the sale of the landfill.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
realistically, once we get those, that coming in, what are the chances of that transpiring into lowering taxes?
Zero.
Yeah.
So then,
Well, I think the better phrase to use would be the stabilized taxes.
Yeah.
You never want to lower, you want to have that nominal 2% growth in your budget every year, because just like the cost of milk and bread goes up in a household, the cost of milk and bread goes up for the borough, and we have to keep pace with inflation for that. So I mean, at 2%, usually people don't even blink at it, it's a couple of dollars, but this was an extraordinary year in terms of what we were faced with, and we kind of,
So
If-
much
if
for
you-
school as well.
In the newspaper, when they were doing Woodbridge of Piscataway, so I know Mayor Whaler of Piscataway made the comment that he was okay because of pilots. Pilots is a grossly misunderstood thing. Essentially, what we're taking is undesirable land and we're incentivizing its development. And this legislature did this because we don't get the grants that the Board of Education get for operational costs. There's a difference between capital costs which is build a building or buy a truck or something, and making payroll. We don't really get operational costs, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct.
So-
And frankly, it was pilot revenue that pulled our bacon out of the fire this year, because that last minute revenue that we got was out of a pilot.
Pilots are incredibly misunderstood, but Mayor Whalen, who has 6 data centers in Piscataway, said it was the pilots that kept the taxpayers of Piscataway level, and McCormick and Woodbridge said the same thing. So the revenue's got to come from someplace. So it's either going to be taxes are going up, or we find an alternative source such as pilots. And what a pilot does, in 2020, in the beginning of the century, National Lead, which was the property owner from Riverton, before Riverton, paid $300,000 a year, and that was for parcels A, B, and C. That's what their tax bill was. At that time, Governor McGreevey asked me to meet with NASCAR, because NASCAR was looking for a track in Metro New York. I had the lunch with NASCAR, and one of the things that came out in the discussion was how Sayreville going to benefit. And they said, well, NASCAR doesn't, there's no contributions from NASCAR. The borough will benefit from, they have 6 days of racing a year. The borough will benefit from the hotels, everything that surrounds the track. And I said, fellas, I said, listen, I have people that are going to pay the borough of Sayreville $20 million a year. I said, before we have the second meeting, I think you need to revise your business plan, because under its current statute, the people of Sayreville will not accept, regardless if you're a NASCAR. I don't have to be a NASCAR. But that's the benefit. We were chasing, Mary, you and I were here at the same time, we were chasing the power stations on Jerryville Road. We can only tax the regular taxation. You only tax the Quonset hut, right? The building that the turbines are in. You don't tax what's inside. So the thing with the data center is, it's a big warehouse, right? Inside is 17 billion, well, you know this, is $17 billion, which I'd like to get something for, and which we will get something for. So this year, between school and borough, the average home is probably going to go up $600-700.
Well, we don't know what the county is yet, right?
I think the school came out.
No, county.
Oh, county.
Yeah, I don't know. They're usually very low.
Yeah,
but-
they usually have
Yeah.
very
They're
good
usually flat.
fluctuations.
But
Oh.
anything is it. I did notice that, now I have seen it, and I think Alberto and Dawn have seen the capital budget. It's not here, and
Oh, it should be in there in the pages 40,
okay.
sheet 40.
I need to put my glasses back on. I did not see that. Oh, no, it doesn't. That's the narrative.
No,
This is all.
yes.
40
Figure-
starts
find
to
it
be-
for you.
Let's see.
Now, 5% of what is in operating for any projects that were supposed to be done this year is included in the operating budget.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but I know you know.
That's the required down payment for the bonds. Now this is a capital plan, that's part of the budget. It includes everything that the departments have requested. We don't have to have all of that in the capital ordinances when we do the bond ordinances. Hi, is the town?
Yeah,
So it might look higher than what it settles out to after we select the projects that we wanted to fund. This year also, we have to do a water quality analysis every year, and the state in our capital budget wants us to tie the water quality report to our capital plan to the penny. So, you might see some, stuff in here on the water side that
Danielle,
may look a lot.
We're at 40B.
Hi,
on
yes,
that- on
sorry.
that document. Page 40B.
Now, what it has in here for road improvements, is that including any of the projects that are being done? Because that number seems a little high.
Which one?
Road improvement?
Road improvement.
The 3.7?
3.7?
Oh, this is,
We have to raise that, it's 3.7.
Yeah.
is, I was
Column-
talking to Glenn about that.
Yeah, listen, column
Yeah.
3 is estimated total cost to get like all of the roads done.
Mm-hmm.
Capital improvement fund is the down payment we have to provide for in the general budget. And then the debt authorized is the actual amount for this year to do projects on
Mm-hmm.
5E.
Yeah.
And is that,
So for roads this year.
Yeah, that's for 6 years worth of road improvements. Because the capital
This
plan is
over
for
here.
6 years. Yeah, the
Yeah.
21 million.
this 3.7, that's everything we're doing, even roads that we might be getting some sort of grant for? Or is that just what
No,
we're
the
paying?
grant's separate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that doesn't.
And
I just wanted to make sure, because I.
And never forget that we don't realize these roads, like we're budgeting for them in '26. You
Oh, I
may
know.
see this paving happen in '28.
Yep.
You know, we're paving
Earliest
this
this
year
spring.
with '24 money. It
And then-
takes that long to get the engineering, the permits.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all
I
that
know.
other stuff.
Anything that we
read.
approve this year.
Yeah, the money's sitting there, but the actual implementation of the roads is like a 2-year cycle.
We start
You have-
this year with all of the engineering stuff. And then in the spring, that's when we actually start going out for bid on the projects. And we're still doing, matter of fact, I think we might even be doing a 24 road now, aren't we? A road from 25? Yeah, but I think there might have even been something left over from
Yeah, I mean,
24.
not roads,
That-
but you've got something on the agenda tonight. It's a capital expense for police. That was out of the '25 budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're still, the roads we're doing now were, from last year and maybe even the year before, so depending on how it all works. Okay. I don't have anything else to say. And that's surprising.
Yeah, Martinez.
I just have two small points. We do have to do, I know on the agenda for this evening, the budget is listed before the COLA ordinance, but we have to have the public hearing on the COLA ordinance before we do the public hearing for the budget.
The cat.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the COLA ordinance. It seemed like at that meeting where we were going to have the public hearing and we tabled it, that there was some hesitance about it. It really is just a tool that helps municipalities where it gives you the option to raise we're allowed to raise 2% of our appropriations over the previous year. And then if we can do it another 1.5% to 3.5% if we pass that COLA. So it doesn't obligate you to do anything, but it is a tool for us to be able to use it if we need to. The other big benefit of the COLA ordinance is that it allows us to bank anything that we don't use in the next 2 years' budgets. So I just wanted to clarify
The
that.
better thing is, if we don't pass the cap, what's the danger of not passing the cap?
Well, you can't get within your appropriations, and then you have to file for a waiver to the state. And
Do we basically shut down, close to it?
It could have.
yeah,
I mean, we passed, I think since the state put in the 2% cap, we have passed that COLA, ordinance every single year. And
It's
most years, we don't even
fundamental
use it.
finance.
Yep. It's a
If we
tool.
don't pass it, we might as well all get up, walk out, and turn the lights off on the way out. Because
Jersey
it'll
Central probably
absolutely
just turn around
hamper
anyway.
the operation.
Danielle, we're going, so the cap,
Mm-hmm.
the budget, but there's also,
We have to,
explain the amendment.
Yeah.
So that's so that you can make a change.
yeah, that we're going to amend the budget because what the introduced amount was with the 25-cent tax increase.
Yep.
So we've amended it, and now we're at 16%.
So it's
We
not
have
three
to-
things that were adopted, or is it three things that were adopted? Or is
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
two?
no, it's
It's
three different.
three.
three separate things. 'Cause You
COLA.
have to adopt the COLA ordinance, you
Then we
have to.
pass the budget, and
Yeah.
then pass the amendment.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the amendment.
Yeah. The only reason we have to do the amendment because we're amending the introduced budget, so
And
that's why.
I've never seen
Which
us
comes
ever
first?
pass, usually always amended before we pass it.
No,
Well, yeah,
it'll be
that's
the COLA.
before, but we amend it before it's
COLA.
introduced, so that's,
Well,
Then the
yeah.
budget as introduced, and then the amendment.
Then the amendment, that's it, okay.
Anything
Anybody
else,
have a-
Danielle?
Nope, that's all I have.
Mary,
No, I'm good.
does anyone else have anything to add to this budget
Or ask.
workshop?
I just wanted to add that this is not going to be popular. Obviously, with the Board of Education increase, this increase is not going to be a popular, in our community. I see like every council meeting that we come in, there's like salary adjustments and new positions being made. Are we slowing down on that trend because of,
Let's, we're basically, everybody here is civil service.
Mhm.
Police, everybody in Borough Hall, everybody in water, sewer. They're all civil service, it's all contractual. They're very good employees. And what's the nominal salary increase goes with cost of living? It's roughly pegged to cost of
Yeah,
living.
like two,
Yeah, but I think, Mayor, more to Alberto's question is, no, we're not looking to expand the workforce in any large-scale way. You do have one on the agenda tonight that is a new position, and we only do that when we have an absolute need that needs to be filled. And, we could discuss that at length if you'd like, but other than that, we pretty much maintain the level that we've been at with personnel. We're not growing the workforce. But as the town grows and the demand for services increase, it, creates some people have to wait a little longer and whatnot, but we're trying to be very judicious in doing that kind of thing. The only place I would see in the next several years any kind of expansion will be in the police department. We're going to have to keep pace because with Bass opening in Riverton, we're expecting an increase in calls for service and things like that. And we're going to need to make sure that we've got enough officers to mitigate any problems there. And again, it's going to be incremental. I don't foresee that we're going to go out and hire 8 or 10 people at a clip, but we have to start growing that roster because as the town grows, the demand for those services will grow as well in parallel.
Are they gonna have their own security?
I would imagine they'll have their own security, but when you get a shoplifter or a property crime, they can only detain.
No, I'm asking, for instance, the hospital, we have our own security. However, we are in cahoots with, in Brooklyn, it's different. You have like 3 different
Precincts?
precincts.
Yeah.
We actually have less people on the road right now than we did in the 80s. So if there's going to be an increase, there will be an increase.
Yeah, because
We can't keep them.
well, what happens also is that you're right. If even though they have their own police, but when it comes to booking the person, it's still going to be an officer that goes. But what helps is that you have to you use your security force as a deterrent. And I also have a question regarding that rehab center on Princeton Road. I think they are using our police officers as a first responder.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Should they not have their own? I'm just asking.
well, no, they have medical staff there, but pretty much the police department policy always is with a medical call, we send an officer because they're always on the road. There's somebody close to get help there quick and in a hurry.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is that, yes, I'm not saying not to do that, but it's a facility. They should have security guards or something, because it's a rehab facility. They should have that
It's the
way.
first time
Well,
hearing of
they
this
have
initiative.
medical, for medical stuff, they've got nurses and everything there.
I think they have a
No,
nominal.
I'm talking physical.
They have a nominal security staff, but remember, everybody that's in there is in there voluntarily so they can leave. So the biggest issue that they have, the police department has, is when someone leaves and they have to go at least detain them just to find out the circumstances of whether they have to be brought back or not. But you're right, there's a training.
Yeah, because there has to be. Because normally what happens when you have a facility like that, you do have to have a guard there because that happens a lot. I'm only used to New York, to Brooklyn, so like
I
rehab
think they
center.
get sick the same way they get sick here.
Yeah, well, no, but in terms of policy, right?
Yeah.
You go to the rehab centers, retirement homes. There's
We'll find
always
out, we'll find out this week
See
what
what the
the,
volume
what the
of calls.
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, we'll look into it.
okay. Yeah, because we don't have enough officers on the road to protect us on the road, especially at night. I would think. I'm not saying for us not to, of course, service them, but we should not be their primary.
Well, since you and I were young, they now have police in the schools, which the taxpayer pays for. And it's a good program, and it does nothing but help our kids. It puts a friendlier face on law enforcement.
Right.
And as a result, they're able to avoid problems.
Right, because it's a deterrent. Right.
Well, you got a guy you can talk to, they'll know things, well, John's the expert on it, but it's a very good program. We've always supported it.
I'm not saying for us not to. I'm
No,
just
I
saying
get
we
it,
need.
I get it, but everybody pays their fair share. The Epic Church, which has a congregation of 11,000, they pay, on their Sunday service, they pay for extra police officers, so off-duty, is it off-duty guys go down?
Yeah.
Right.
And they pay that rate.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's,
Right.
like, so they're not gonna be, we're not gonna, guys all the way and,
Right.
and then have to come.
Yeah, well, we'll take a critical look at the call volume there and see if we need to tweak that, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more input at this budget meeting? Okay, with that, I will open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Okay, could you state your name and your street there?
My name is Giselle Schiavone. I live at One Ridge.
What was that?
One ridge.
One Ridge. My question is, how come I never find out about these meetings unless I literally have to go online and by chance, oh, there's a meeting over there. Why isn't there a way for the residents to know about these meetings?
What would be the better way?
Maybe send an email out, a text message out, something out to let people know.
It wasn't a newsletter, right?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it was.
It was, so we have a newsletter that we send out all this information, and,
How do you send it out?
I think you have to sign up in our...
I'm signed up and I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, it goes out every Friday.
Still wasn't aware
And
of
the
it.
entire meeting schedule is posted on the website.
If I'm not going on the website to pay a bill,
Well, there is a responsibility. The borough is very, very good. We used to, do we still put these budgets and all their addendums down in the library?
No, online.
Online.
And
So-
Everything's
do we
online.
still, no newspapers?
We go out of our way to
Yeah.
make sure any and
Somebody
all
reads the newspaper.
information,
No,
all
they don't.
ordinances, everything is accessible to anybody who wants it. If there's a way that we're not doing, it's like the Nixels from the police department. If you're not signed up, you don't get it,
exactly.
all right?
And I am signed up, and I do get the
Okay,
notices
so
from
Jess, would you check with this lady, and if she isn't, if she's signed up for something else, get her signed up for this, please.
Okay.
All right, we're not here to hide anything.
I'm here those 10 years, and I end up finding out about these meetings by fluke, literally fluke.
At the beginning of the year, we post, it's just about everywhere, what the meeting schedule is for the entire year.
Where are you posting it?
It's on our website, our Facebook page has
Yeah.
all our meetings. I know that goes out quite a few, like tonight, probably in the morning, it said council meeting tonight. But
So you put it this morning,
No,
announced the
our
council meeting.
schedule is out for the whole year at the beginning of the
That-
year.
that was
and
a
then we remind
reminder.
people on the day of the meeting that there's a meeting.
That's just a reminder.
On
On our
Facebook.
Facebook page.
It's listed on our meeting schedules on our website that we have to list all our meetings now
You
required by law.
listed the day of.
No.
No,
No, we
they're
remind.
At the beginning of the
we remind.
year.
on there now.
the
All our
whole
meetings
year.
for the entire year for all the
We-
boards and commissions are on our website right now.
On the front page,
There's a meeting schedule tab. Just hit meetings and it'll bring up all the list of meetings
so I
for the year.
can print out a calendar. to
I'm
know
sure,
when
yeah,
the
I'm sure.
meetings
Yeah,
are
there's a
gonna
way.
be.
Yeah.
We decide the meeting schedule for the year right at the beginning of the year, and it's posted for the entire year. And unless, we had a couple of snowstorms last year where we had to postpone the meetings. But other than that, they just follow that strict schedule the entire year, whatever it is. And it's usually the second and fourth Monday of the months, except there's 3 months, June, July, 4 months, June, July, and August, and then December.
November
There's
this
a-
year.
November this year too.
I was a little confused at first. This is my first year, so I made a spreadsheet with all the meetings and all the months and all that stuff. I can share that with you if you like.
I appreciate that. In reference to the Bordentown roundabout,
I can't hear you.
The board in
in
town.
reference to the Bordentown roundabout,
Right.
is there any part that the town is gonna be involved in? Or is it
Well,
only?
we're having, are you Kenneth, are you by, you're
No,
by
Ridge.
Ridge Street,
No,
right?
my son owns, the house on Bordentown in Eugene.
Okay, well, that's a,
Literally, the rock
that's
corner house.
so we're having the
The
Department of
28th.
Transportation come in what date?
21st, I think.
21st?
I don't
28th.
know. I have no idea. I would
And
know
they're
that.
we're gonna hold the meeting down at Senior Center?
On a Saturday.
No,
No, it's not on a
They
Saturday.
won't come
Tuesday?
out,
Thursday.
they won't
Yeah.
come out on a Saturday.
So I was told, was told 21st, and then I was told the 28th. I was told to
All right,
contact patients.
listen,
I'll send you the.
It
We'll
took
get
3
it-
phone calls, 3 emails.
it shouldn't be
before I
this
got a response.
complicated.
We'll get you there right
Okay, again, back to the question. Is this town, the town, not the state, the town gonna be involved in any part of the decision making?
well, they're coming here to get input and to answer questions. And how much can be changed? Depends on what we're looking for that interchange to do. All right?
But they're coming here, the state is coming to talk to the residents.
Right.
But this council here is not gonna be involved or involved?
It's a state project, like any other citizen, the council people will have an opportunity to give input to the DOT, but at the end of the day, it's a DOT project, and they're the ones that are deciding what it needs to get done there.
And paying for
From it, and paying for it, yeah.
But understand that we advocate for our residents. If it's a dumb plan, we're gonna explain to them that we think it's a dumb plan. I can tell you going back in 2019, when I was chief, they came along with a plan that was similar to this, but they were gonna close Eugene Boulevard at that time. And they were gonna
I'm
make it a
clearly aware of
cul-de-sac.
that.
Right. So we fought that at that time. Now, I'm not gonna tell you that we can win or not win this, but you do have advocates, everyone here, that listens to the residents of that area and understands what that intersection looks like. And they're gonna, every one of us here is gonna advocate to do the best thing for those residents plus the
And
community.
I'm not here to argue
No,
that
and I'm not
things don't
here,
need to be
just to let
changed.
you tell you.
I know
that.
how many
Yeah.
accidents
But
happen
I don't
every
want you,
morning.
I don't want you to
So
think
we know
anybody's
there's
gonna
needs
sit
to
back
be
here and
changed.
go, they're gonna do what they wanna do. This group here will work very hard.
It felt like
anything else?
what do they call that, bumper pool.
No, that was pretty much it, getting notifications. which
All
I
right, so-
appreciate.
When we adjourn this meeting in a couple of minutes, make sure you go to Jess, and we'll get you set up on that notification evening. Okay? Okay, is there anything else for the open public portion? Anyone, any questions or comments?
I move the public portion be closed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
All in favor?
Aye. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, ma'am, we're going into another meeting at 7.
So the